When is he going to become Master Chef? Tim Van Clever.
When we convince him to change. When we convince him to change his name to Master Chef.
You don't think when he upgrades to Windows 11 he automatically becomes Master Chef, or will he have to get the Xbox Game Pass?
He'll probably have to get the Xbox Game Pass.
I just want Cortana to call him Master Chef.
Oh God. Where'd he go? Tim, come back. We're trying to promote your next season of Cooking with Tim.
Boo. Boo.
Tim, have you cooked anything this week at all?
It's been too hot now.
Yeah, neither of us. We've
sandwiches and salads. That is what I've lived off of the last few days. I did. So my wife was coming home the other night, and she's like, "I really want a burrito." Mimo sounds good. There's this Mexican place called Mimo's on Evergreen Way, and I'm like, "That does sound really good." I'm like, "Do you want to stop and get us some Mimo's on the way home?" She's like, "Yeah, sure." And she gets there and she's like, "I am so sad." And I'm like, "What's wrong?" She's like, "The line is going around the building and out onto the street."
Wow.
At both entrances.
Wow. Holy crap.
So she came home and then is like, "Oh, well, we realized we need a few things from the store for the morning for the kids." I'm like, "I'll go back out. Do you think that line at Mimo's has gone down?" So I drove all the way back out there, and I was able to get myself in line, and I was able to watch I kind of stopped watching Superstore, Tim. I was like 3 episodes away from the end of the season, the last season, and I picked it back up, and I sat there in line long enough to watch an episode of Superstore. That's how long I sat in that drive-through line.
Hey,
for a
Tim,
burrito.
when is your birthday?
October 20.
Are you going to get him like a cooking set?
What year were you born? How old are you?
Do I want to disclose this information on a live stream?
I guess what I need to know. I need to know when we're getting Chef Tim a Gooply Chef's apron.
Oh yeah, we should do that.
Mr.
And a
Store
chef's
Manager.
hat.
When will that be
Yeah.
available in the store? Speaking of the store, we have an announcement. I'm kidding, we don't.
What a great segue.
Well, we will be talking about a store tonight on the Gooply Cast.
Right. I actually do want to talk about that. I want to hear your guys' thoughts on that particular store. But as a tangent to that, how's the Apple Store doing?
Well, the Apple Store's good.
The Mac Store? Do you guys buy things from the Mac Store? Do you?
Oh, yeah.
interact
You
with
mean
it at
are you
all?
talking about the App Store for Mac /
The
iOS?
App Store for Mac, specifically for Mac?
Yeah.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
What do you?
Where you get applications.
You can't can you not get them from anywhere else? You can't just go
No,
online.
you can.
No, you can.
And they install perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you
Why
guys
did you
ever
ask?
do that? I'm just
Yes.
curious. Like, how often do you
yeah.
go on your Mac
Some
onto
things-
the web?
Some
Yeah,
things
some
aren't
things.
Some things aren't available on the Mac Store,
Mhm.
and you can download them from a website. But
I mean, I like the program that I used to upload to my website was not on the. Was that on the Mac Store? I can't remember if that was on the Mac Store, but there's a.
it is.
like a
But
Clean
you
My-
got the free version.
There's a Clean My Mac app that I got off of its website, Microsoft Visual Code Studio Code, or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
That was from their website that I use. What else do I use? It's Chrome. I can't remember if Chrome was on. There's so many things that I installed a while ago that I can't remember if I got off the store or off of the website itself.
Mhm.
I have some Steam games on my MacBook, like Knights of the Old Republic 1 and 2, which are probably the only games worth ever owning in your life.
Hey, BioWare games are pretty quality. So
Only one of those was BioWare.
Only what?
The second one wasn't BioWare. Only the first one was.
Oh, it
Hey,
was.
Tim, do you
Oh,
like
I didn't know
cookies,
that.
Tim? Barbecuing, Starbucks, vegetables, seafood, candy.
I feel like he is shopping for you right now.
Are you ordering my next grocery list?
No.
I have an idea where this is going. I have a very good idea where this is going.
Don't you say anything.
Now that you've said that, I am also thinking about what it could
I
be.
will tell you in just a minute. Okay,
so it's not set up yet.
So there we go. Ichiban Death just said that Chrome is a DMG, which means you get it from their website, not the App Store. It's a digital, like a mounted digital file that you install on your Mac. Like it mounts as a disk drive, a virtual disk drive, and it installs, and then you unmount it and trash it.
Interesting. That sounds cumbersome. I'm not sure
if
it works.
It's not. It's just like an installer. You download it.
Automatic.
You open up the DMG, and it's like, oh, copy this to your application folder. You just drag it over the application folder, and you're done.
Okay. And then it like deletes itself also?
Some of them do, some of them don't. Some of them it's like, oh, you finished installing this. Do you want to go ahead and eject it and delete it?
Curious. Very curious. Okay. And what about you, Matt? Matt is architecting something over there. So
yeah, I'll be back in just a minute.
Fair enough. There's a bunch of stuff on basically everything that I get. No, see that just goes back into the conversation for Microsoft, which I want to talk about when we're actually talking about it. But so how have you guys been? How have your weeks been? Any tech related stuff happened to you, or any new purchases or anything? Any new desires? Saw something that you wanted to get at some point?
Bought a new Cadillac converter.
You say.
That was my big.
You have a new one, you say?
Yeah, you always have to buy new cat. It's my new favorite thing I bought ever was a Cadillac converter.
You know, they brought out a newer model, so you had to buy the newer version, right?
Of course, you can't drive to certain places unless you upgrade. You can't. It's behind paywalls. If you don't know the story, basically, what happened? Last week, me and my wife were going to go to the grocery store to get some groceries in the morning, and turned on her car. Very, very loud engine, very loud sports car. It was like vroom. Exactly like that. I don't know if you heard that. But it was a very loud engine, and immediately we thought it was like the neighbor maybe starting their car at the same time. Nope, it was our car. Cadillac converter was stolen off of it in the middle of the night, so immediately called the apartment complex. They looked at it, and the maintenance guy we didn't know what it was that was stolen. The maintenance guy came over and he's like, "They steal your cat?" I'm like, "No, our cat's okay." And he's like, "No, your Cadillac converter." And we're okay. Yes, it was probably stolen. So so he gave us some good insight, and then we called the cops. Cops came out, filed a report, and then did the fun process of calling insurance, and then took it to a mechanic.
How much did it cost?
Luckily, they only stole the cheap ones, so the total was like $600 compared to normally $2,000 for one of those things. So we were very fortunate. And
your insurance going to cover any portion of it?
We don't know for sure right now. We're still waiting to hear back. But I want a huge shout out to Buc-ee's on Highway 99 in Linwood.
Oh, yeah.
Fantastic place. Take your car. I take my car there all the time to get its oil changed. Fantastic service. They were very helpful. And also huge shout out to AAA for towing the car for us for free. It was great. And then also insurance was supposed to get us a rental car, but we ended up canceling it because Buc-ee's was able to fix it same day. So we did not need a rental car, which was really nice.
That's good.
Yeah. Even though insurance was going to pay for the rental car, we were lucky enough to have it fixed same day. So,
cuts out the hassle of having to figure out how to get it returned and where to get it up and all that stuff.
Yeah, and now we have the car back. It works. It's a great Cadillac converter. I would 10 out of 10 would buy it again.
Would buy it again? Would you?
That doesn't mean anything.
You forgot to mention the most exciting part of your weekend. That was getting those sweet Funkos that you guys got. They're they're like spot on. Like I look at that, I'm like, that's Zoe and that's Tim. Like
that was so much fun to make. We did that on Sunday when it was really hot. That was so much fun.
Did they make it the same day?
Yeah, you fill out basically you go in, they give you have a piece of paper, and then there's like these walls that have just basically like glass boxes, and each one has every single part you can choose from, and you just write down the number that you want, and you pick out your hair, you pick out your head style, you pick out if you want facial hair, you can do glasses, a lot of options, and then you can also hold 2 accessories. And unfortunately, I didn't have any servers or anything like that, so I'm holding a phone and a coffee, which I thought was good. And then I picked the black shirt because I'm eventually, Zoe had the great idea, but eventually putting the Gooply logo on the black shirt is the eventual goal. So, but right now mine is living at my desk at work. I have it sitting on my desk and I love it. It's super cool to look at like throughout the day. And then hers turned out really well as well. It was fun. I highly recommend doing it. It's only $25 per one, so $50 for both of us to do it. Highly recommend it. It's so much fun.
And this was at the official store in Funko, the Everett one, right? Awesome.
Yeah, the official headquarters office in Everett.
Last time I went there for a build your own Funko, you basically had two options. I mean, they were still super highly customizable, but you could either build a monster or you could build a Freddy Funko. And they had all these different monster heads, monster hairstyles, ear type things. They could be like little wings, fins, whatever. But you can only build a monster. You could build a Freddy Funko. So the fact they branched into basically building yourself as a Funko is pretty awesome. Because not that I don't enjoy my monster that I built, because he looks pretty awesome. I would love to build me a little mini Roy. Yeah,
it's super cool, and like it's I think it's because of COVID restrictions stuff, but you have to write everything down. But I think normally, can you just walk over there and pick up
when I did it, all the pieces were there, and you walked through like the assembly line and kind of assembled it as you went through. You picked out your head, and then you picked out your body, and then you picked out your arms, feet, whatever. Like they took you. And then, like, the first half was monsters, and the second half was Freddy Funko. So, depending on which one you were building.
And they have them in all these bins where you can, like, grab a bunch of them or whatever yourself and then kind of, like, fit them together. Is that right? Like, available for you or people to grab with their hands or something?
Right now, go follow Chef Tim VK.
Oh my!
No, why would you, what? Wow, I'm turning on
your first parody account, whatever they call it, your fan account.
Gotta follow that quick. Chef Tim VK. People,
why can't I find it?
I'm following you. I'm following you. I just followed you, so you should be able to find it. It's Chef, CHEF, Tim, VK. Chef Tim was taken. I think you should sue for copyright infringement.
Who is this other Chef Tim?
I cannot find it. I'm just going to find you, Matt, and follow.
I followed you too, Roy. I'm following all of you guys.
Right. I didn't get a notification.
I'm the first one to follow. Why are you following McDonald's under this account? I find that very offensive.
So let me explain. When you create a Twitter account, you have to select things to follow, and that was one of the options. So I'll unfollow it right now.
Why am I following?
Wait, you have to?
You have to follow certain accounts before I'll let you go through.
Oh my goodness!
Follow Twitter. If I want to spam, just let me spam.
I still cannot seem to find it.
I am scrolling through Matt's
I'm
list.
following you.
I didn't get a notification.
Following
that you're
all of
following
you
me.
guys.
I don't get
Yeah,
notifications from
Go
Twitter,
to-
so there's no way that I
Go
would.
to your Twitter profile and click on followers, and it should be the top
Yeah.
one.
Oh yeah, duh. I knew that. I know how to Twitter. No, I don't.
Oh, I can just Control F. Chef. He's not in Matthew Evans's following.
Oh, I didn't follow myself. Sorry.
Oh, I see.
Let me go. Let me change that. I
I'll
do
go
need
back
another
to
follower.
Googly.
The photo you chose.
You know how hard it is to make a Twitter account? God, it's not they don't make it that easy. They wanted my phone number, and I'm like, hell, I'm not giving you my phone number.
Is Gooply not following Chef Tim?
No, I'm following. I haven't switched over there yet. No.
Okay, gotcha. So then, anyways, I will go to just my account.
Hold on. I gotta tweet out the link to the show on my Twitter account.
Boom.
Let's see.
Chef Tim.
Let's see here. Settings. Report at Chef.
No, hey, whatever. Come on.
The thing is, I don't understand why he fights it so much.
Yeah, Zoe wants him to be popular. This is the step to being popular. Like, you're never gonna get popular
Should I tell
if you don't
Zoe
have.
to follow?
Yeah, you should if she's on Twitter.
I'm going to share this on Facebook right now. Okay, so this is just building. What else? What else does Tim need? Does he need? Chef Tim needs an Instagram. Like
Yeah,
if he has,
I think so.
I think he
Okay.
needs a Google Plus.
Oh.
Oh wait, we're not following Windows. We need to follow Windows. His friends over at Windows are gonna get.
You're like, get a load of this guy. Watch, they send the Chef Tim a sweater, yet they don't send me a sweater.
Oh, Zoe doesn't
God.
have Twitter.
Oh, you need to tell her to make one.
What
That's
kind
really
of
sad.
millennial Twitter?
She has Facebook and
We'll
Instagram.
we'll have to make an Instagram and a Facebook next week.
One new social media profile.
I love it.
Well, it's good. We don't want to blast everybody too quickly. We want want this to be organic.
Well, so I had to create a special email address to create the account because it was let me
Wow, you
create
went
it.
above and beyond for this stupid meme.
I just created an alias for on my domain. So
Oh,
if you email Chef Tim at IamMatthew.com, it goes. Oh God.
Great.
Anyways.
Man. This is fantastic.
Sorry, I had to. Like, I think it's just.
I mean, one step closer to getting a YouTube channel and getting brand deals and reviewing
like,
utensils and everything.
You don't get verified until you at least have a few parody accounts. So we're. Hold on. I figured out I have to do something because I don't want Tim to report me.
Oh no.
This is a
Parody account.
Oh, you have to add the description.
You have to add that in the thing.
I did not
So-
know that. Interesting.
Mm.
And I technically took the picture, so
This is a parody.
not using any illegal copyright.
I won't report it. It's funny.
Now I got to figure out what to tweet.
Oh, hey, PAX badges went on sale for PAX West today.
What?
Yeah.
Is it a digital PAX?
No,
No,
in
it's
person.
in person.
Are there any badges left?
There probably are.
What?
It's not as popular this year as it's been in the past.
Yeah, the last time I checked, a few hours after they went on sale, there were still 4-day passes left.
Oh, okay,
But they
there
said
are no 4-day passes.
they had tweeted out that they were running low at the time.
They're officially sold out of the 4-day pass.
Yeah.
And then
There you go. There's the first tweet.
In all fairness,
I tweeted the stream of the show. Sorry. Go ahead.
So I enforce at PAX every year. Well, every year they have it, and so they give us some info. And from what I understand, there are going to be some extra safety precautions this year at PAX. I believe they're limiting capacity to PAX this year to like 50% of what they usually do.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So the fact that there's still so many passes available and they're limiting capacity shows that there are a lot of people who are playing it cautious this year, which is fine. Mm-hmm. All the enforcers were all going to be required to wear masks and have our temps taken daily and whatnot. So I'm looking forward to it.
This PAX will be interesting given how kind of light E3 was. I'm curious to see what they're going to have there, and because this is going to be another chance for like all those game companies who didn't have something either ready or concrete for E3, they'll have an opportunity to announce or to just be present at PAX.
Well, you got to remember that most of the things that you see at PAX, the games that you play, the demos that you try out, they're exact copies of what was demoable at E3. Mm-hmm. So this will be a chance for those game developers to show off and let you have hands-on for things that they didn't have for E3. So hopefully they plan for that and they can pull that together over the next few months and have a lot of playable demos. Like I said, anything that you want to play Nintendo-wise was something they already had you able to play at E3, and without having that opportunity this year, I think that'll make this PAX a little bit more impactful for game developers and getting their product out there for people to get their hands on to try out.
Besides Roy, are any of you guys planning on going?
I'm looking at buying a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday badge right now. That's what
you got to come by and see me if you're gonna go to PAX. Where I'll let you know where I'll be working and what my shift will be.
I've been there the last 5 or 6 years, and I'm surprised that I haven't seen you because I just randomly always run into people that I know. So I'll have to specifically.
I've been working the last couple of years that I worked there. I was working the morning shift at the console free play. So, like, the first 4 hours the convention is open, I'm down at last year it was down like the dungeon in the convention center across the street. Got to go across the sky bridge. But other than that, I just spend the day pretty much wandering the expo floor and checking out the satellite sites, at the different places across the street and whatnot.
So what is your guys' like PAX route? Like, what do you find yourself doing most? Because like you said, there's console free play, there's board games, there's demos, and then there's panels. Like, what's your mix of PAX that you guys like to do?
Unless there's a panel that I really want to see during the daytime, I usually don't do panels until the evening. Just because if I want the full PAX experience, I'll spend most of my day at Expo Hall. I spent a lot of time not on the main Expo Hall floor, like where Nintendo and Ubisoft, and I usually go to the next floor up where like you get more of the indie developers, like Inti Creates and Nippon Ichi and whatnot. I'll spend a lot of time up there, and then I do panels in the evening.
Okay.
Yeah, I typically when I go to PAX, I typically will go through the panel schedule before and figure out if there's any panels I want to see. I'll go do those, walk the expo hall, and then typically after the expo hall's closed, I will go to PC Free Play a few games there, and then depending on the concerts, I love going to the concerts. My favorite band, Bit Brigade, they are fantastic. I think I've played their music in electronics before, but they have a full band that plays, and they have one of their members has a typically it's a retro console, so an NES system, and he will speed run a game, and the band is playing the entire music to the game.
That's
awesome.
As they're playing it, and they constantly are changing up, so they'll play the main menu music as he the selection screens. They will keep I will, after this podcast, I will find one of their concerts. It's so good. Like he has all the different boss levels. They're just, he's playing, they're all playing, and then they get to the boss level, music changes up immediately and it goes faster. It's faster paced, and then they win, and then it goes. He did one for Mega Man. It was I saw it at PAX East one time. It was so good. He's done it. They've done it for Legend of Zelda. Pretty much every game, I think they've done it. Highly recommend. Bit Brigade is their name.
Okay, I literally have never been to a PAX concert. I think that's the only technical thing that I haven't done. Have you been to any of the concerts, Roy?
I have never been to a PAX concert, and I wanted to do one last year. I was going to go to one last year, and what happened? I think it happened on the night that because I took my nephew to PAX. They had just moved up here, his mom and him from New Mexico or Arizona, I think, and I took him to PAX with me one day. He kind of hung out until I was off shift, and there was I think there was a panel he really wanted to go to that night, and obviously he had never been to PAX before, so it's like, anything you want to do, I don't care. We'll go do it. We went and watched some YouTuber in the middle of the day that plays Minecraft, and if you know me, I can't stand Minecraft. So
I did not know that.
I cannot stand Minecraft. Unpopular opinion, I know. But I went anyway. Didn't care much for the YouTuber, but it's his first PAX. Wanted to make it memorable. He is going to be going again this year. We got him a Saturday pass, so I will be there pretty much all day Saturday. The other days, because my wife needs to take care of her grandmother in the evening, I won't be there as late on the other days. But Saturday, I will be there all day because he'll have a Saturday pass.
All right.
Are you going to go to Minecraft? Are you going to go to
Minecraft has RTX. They got all this new content. I don't know if that's actually true. There's so much, Roy, that you're missing out on by not playing Minecraft. It's
not my cup of tea. Everybody has their own style of games. Like, there's a guy that I work with, and he's like super into the Soul style games, and I'm like, yeah, they're fun, but they get old really fast, and mainly because they get frustrating. Not that I don't like when I play Bloodborne, I'll die and I'll be like, that was something stupid. I shouldn't have died to that. I got this. And then like an hour later, I've made no progress, and I realized I just need to stay away from Souls games.
Yeah, I could spend probably like 20 full minutes talking about Souls games and 20 minutes about why I don't play Minecraft. So I am with you. While I'm okay with Minecraft, I just don't play it because it's addicting to me, and I literally will play nothing else. That's like the short of it. And then like the Souls games are like Sonic games to me, where it's just about going through a bunch of random pathways, collecting things called souls. And then when you get hit, or die in this case, you lose all of them, and then you have to collect all of them. So I find the gameplay repetitive and not super fun. So an unpopular opinion to share with you.
No, I'm with you.
Alrighty, guys, we are at the mark here.
Yes.
Is everybody ready to go?
Let's do it.
So ready to step into the future.
Oops, hold on.
Wah, wah.
We got time.
I forget how to do this.
It's only 200 degrees. Take your time.
Alrighty, here we go.
Awesome.
Android and iPhone users, welcome. BlackBerry and Windows Phone users, these phones don't even support podcasting, bro. The podcast going beyond the headlines. This is the Gooplycast. Here's your host, Matthew Carter.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Gooply Cast. We're live right now on Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube. If you can't make our live show, we have an audio-only version. You can find that on all of your favorite Android and iOS podcasting apps. With us tonight is iPhone Jedi, Matt Evans. Hey, Matt.
How's it going?
Going fantastic. I haven't melted yet, so I consider that a plus.
That is, yeah.
You haven't melted either. It's great to see you.
I have a fan going this way, so it's keeping me cool.
There's some respite from the energy bath that's devouring all of us.
Tim's got a fan too.
Also joining us tonight is iMac connoisseur Roy Schlapinski. Hey, Roy.
Good evening.
I see you're with us as well. The heat, you haven't succumbed to the heat. The heat hasn't consumed you.
I have a nice air conditioner, air conditioning unit at work, and I stand basically right below it. So during the day has been okay, except for when I've had to go outside. I too have a fan literally blowing on me right now because it is hot. It is still hot.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Also joining us tonight is Cooking with Tim host, or I don't even remember what I was saying anymore. I changed it because I was like so excited about his new title.
Tim.
Exactly.
Chef
we
Tim.
have Chef Tim tonight, host of Cooking with Tim, Chef Tim. How's it going, Chef Tim?
It's going. It's gonna be a long show.
Make sure you check out his new Twitter account at Chef Tim.
Parody account
At Chef Tim VK.
Sorry, yeah, at Chef Tim VK. You should really sue for the rights to Chef Tim, but
we'll have to work on that. Maybe we can get all the powerful Tims together to lobby against this other clearly, I don't know, incorrect Tim, Chef Tim. We'll get him out of there. And our director, Joe Meacham, is out tonight having fun. So we wish him luck on whatever it is he's looking to have fun with, whatever.
he's at a baseball game, I think.
He's at a baseball game?
Ooh,
awesome.
Yeah. So hopefully he catches a fly ball.
He's outside, which is where I just don't want to go at all right now.
Well, he's also not here in Washington. He's in Minneapolis or Minnesota. But
Yep.
yeah,
Absolutely.
So, I'm sure the weather is a little different there.
I was the other night I was listening because I saw someone post this on my Facebook, but the other night I was listening to the Welcome to Miami song by Will Smith, and I was thinking, it is so much cooler there. They're so lucky. I would give anything to be in Miami and be that cool right now.
Oh my God. So I just have to tell you, so I was just looking for hotels. Not that we were going to go to a hotel because we were okay. But one of our friends, we went out. She came over. One of my girlfriends came over and watched TV and stuff like that because it was like 85, 90 degrees in her apartment. And so we suggested that she should go look or get a hotel room for the night. You couldn't find a hotel room in Washington State.
They were all like booked.
There was nothing. There was absolutely nothing available.
Mm-hmm. The last time I remember something like that happening was like a snowstorm in '95 that took out power like all over the West Coast or whatever.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Did you see the roads were buckling on the freeway?
And like tar was melting and stuff. Outside of our factory, there was like a spot that had just been baking under the sun where they had like sealed the road. There was some kind of like fissure. And the tar that they had put in there was like bubbly a little bit, and like you could stick your finger in it and move it around.
Wow,
it's insane. So, as a side note, there's a heat wave going on in Washington State, and we weren't prepared for it. But back on topic, tonight we'll be discussing Microsoft and their Windows 11 announcement. Lots of new changes, but fundamentally, would you guys say that it sounds like Windows 11 is just going to be like a skin for Windows 10?
I think it's going to be a lot like Mac OS, like I said before. I think that's just
graphically, yes. Functionally, though, it's still Windows.
I don't know. Like I mean, when you think about it, like when you go over to the whatever the bar that like has the sound and the Wi-Fi on, I don't know what you guys call that on
Task manager, I think.
task manager,
Task bar.
But anyways, you click on that and it pops up with a little window that looks almost identical to the control center for Mac OS. Like literally, it's the other direction basically, but very, very similar. When you look at the rounding of it, the transparency, like when you have things behind it and stuff like that, the transparency looks pretty much the same. They got rid of the ribbon, like in Windows Explorer, I think it's called. Just so much like Mac overall. So it definitely, I'm excited for it. Like actually, I was gonna try and install it on my Mac via a virtual machine, but we'll see kind of, how I like using it, but I didn't get around to it because I can't find the cable for my external hard drive to install it. So I'll have to keep looking for that.
So what you're telling me is when Tim is talking about how great he thinks and how excited he is for Windows 11, what he's really saying is how much he loves Mac OS.
Exactly.
So one of the things that I saw about the taskbar is that apps can no longer customize areas of the taskbar. And that's, I think, part of like a bunch of security features that Microsoft is trying to bake into Windows 11, because it seems like a lot of the things on the surface look like, look like Mac, basically. It looks like, Apple created a really fantastic visual standard for how a desktop experience works, and Microsoft is kind of stealing the things that they think will make, Windows maybe more appealing to Mac customers or just a better operating experience in general. But a lot of the things that I saw that they're changing feels like they're maybe parroting what Apple is doing by focusing on security. Did you guys get that sense at all?
Yeah, and I think it kind of makes sense because, especially with everything kind of going on with the SolarWinds hack and, the hacking and stuff like that of it, like, I think they want to pretty much, because Microsoft was very vulnerable to that. And so I think they want to continue to improve their security, just like any other operating system is. I'm not saying that Mac OS is more secure or not than Windows, but I mean, every system is vulnerable to attacks, but anything you can do to tighten up the security of your system, I think is very helpful in the long run.
And speaking of security, that brings up, there's an article that 9 to 5 Mac published about, the article is about how it won't be supported on Intel Macs, but it really goes into the fact that in order to run Windows 11, you will need to have a TPM 2.0 chip installed in your computer, which is TPM stands for Trusted Platform Module, and it's basically a chip that helps ensure the integrity of. It says right here, to ensure the integrity of operating systems, similar to what the Security Enclave chip does on Macs. It can control cryptographic keys, DRM management, and more. And what's even more interesting is I've always felt that Microsoft has made Windows super accessible to so many people, but they brought out a list of different processors that will be supporting, or that Windows 11 will be supported on. And basically, if you don't have a processor made newer than 2017, you can kiss Windows 11 goodbye. It's not going to run.
Well, so you can run it on a virtual machine, I think. I just don't think you can run it in boot camp, but I think you can still run it on a virtual machine.
I will be testing that. My CPU and were you talking about Mac or was it Windows?
Mac,
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Never mind.
So, because I'm gonna install it via Parallels. And I think you can do that. I think you can still do that with there.
Yeah, as long as it's a virtual machine, you're good. Boot camp will not work.
Yeah, no, and that's fine because I don't use boot camp at all anyway. So.
And I think for the customer who's looking to just buy a laptop like off the shelf, it's not going to affect them because manufacturers if and when they adopt Windows 11, will probably be putting some the latest chips into the computer that they're building anyway. And it looks like Windows is going to work on like Atom processors, which are like mobile kind of power processors, all the way up to the core processors, which are their like more heavy duty like workspace computers.
One thing they announced during the conference is at the very, I think it was towards the very end, they talked about you'll be able, when you go to the store, you'll be able to find computers that will have the sticker Windows 11 ready, something like that. That brings me back to the, I don't know if you guys remember in when Windows Vista was coming out, Microsoft started labeling a bunch of manufacturers were labeling on their computers Windows XP, and then there was a little thing Vista Ready underneath it. But that was misleading because it was only saying you'll be able to run home version minimum spec of Vista. That did not mean ultimate, because there were like 7 different versions of Windows Vista, and it was a big class action lawsuit against Microsoft. So I'm wondering if they've learned their lesson. I'm assuming they've learned their lesson from this time. I'm just curious how that's going to work with the Windows 11 Ready stickers.
Interesting, because with the range of processors that Windows 11 is going to run on, I mean, they had some other restrictions also, like it has to have 4 gigabytes of RAM, it has to have a 64 gigabyte or larger storage space.
Finally.
Like, so you can't throw it on some like HP little tiny stream book with 32 gigabytes of memory, which is that was such a frustrating thing to sell at Fred Meyer, because it's like, well, you can't really do anything with it. You really kind of have to get all of these other things. But you also have to have a 720p display or greater that is 9 inches diagonally. So it seems like while it can run on like a low-end processor, the hardware seems to be more standardized. Like you can't run it on like a piece of crap thing. So I think that might help Microsoft maybe with security, if they can target like a relatively limited range of devices, and it would help them, I don't know, control what kind of experiences people can have. Because like a 9-inch screen, that's pretty big. No 7-inch tablets are going to be running Windows 11. So I don't know. Do you guys think customers will be confused going from whatever computer they have right now, seeing that Windows 11 is available for them and not being able to upgrade? Do you think that would cause a lot of confusion?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. It's gonna be a big mess. Everyone was confused with the Windows 10 mixed marketing about Windows 10 is going to be free for everyone. That has 7 and 8. It was a mess. It was confusing, and this is going to be just as confusing for people. And everything, no matter what, is confusing.
Well, it's
and I agree. I mean, I think when you go from any big change in an operating system, you see a lot of pushback, even on Mac OS. Like there's some people who don't want to, even iOS and mobile operating systems, there's some people just don't like change, and they might have just gotten used to Windows 10, and now it's changed all over again, and they've got to learn something new. That's just the nature of technology. But my experience with people is some people just don't like change. They like their tech to be the same for years after years after years, even though it continues to get uglier and uglier and uglier in some cases.
Except for in this case where they made it look much better. The aesthetics of Windows 11.
Yeah, no, I definitely think I hate the look of Windows 10. I mean, I think it's better than Windows 8. I think it's better than Windows 7, but I think this gives it a nice. It's kind of like when iOS got its first redesign. It looked very old, and I watch a lot of older. Well, I don't watch a lot of older TV shows, but a lot of true crime series and stuff like that. And when they talk about text messages and stuff like that, they use an old iPhone 4, which has iOS 4 or 5 on it or something like whatever before the redesign, and it looked ugly. And I'm like, how did I ever use this? So and I think it'll just take time for people to get used to. But again, people don't like change. They don't like new things.
And
So
Microsoft has learned a lot, right? Like you said, they went through Vista and Windows 7, they went through 8, and they've failed pretty consistently in many areas with those new versions of Windows. And Windows 10 is kind of like a mix of all of the things that they've learned before. So I think if they're going to be adapting some of Apple's visual styles and learning from the mistakes that they've made with the previous versions of Windows, I think that Windows 11 at least will have a much better starting point than their previous operating systems, because it seems like Microsoft is trying to create an even more seamless experience across all of the devices that they expect Windows to be able to run on, which I think a lot of people will like, but I'm not sure that just a visual upgrade will be enough to force people to upgrade to Windows 11. Do you guys think it's enough to make people buy new computers? Have you guys seen anything in either the features that they're adding or taking away that you think make Windows 11 stand out more than just like the visual style?
Well, and I know that Tim will disagree with me on this, but I think they need to get rid of the old control center. I hate it. It looks ugly. They need to get rid of it. They need to make it simpler and easier to use. It's a pain in the butt. So I think they really, and some of the core features, like when you right click on the menu screen, you can go down, and it's got a new design and stuff like that. But there's like a legacy menu too that you can go down to and see the old legacy menu. I don't know what the difference is between it, but they still have some legacy stuff in there which they need to get rid of. They just need to go all in on it, cut the cord with it, because that again just keeps people going back to the legacy stuff rather than just pushing them in the right direction, giving them that little push, saying, "Here you go. This is how you do this going forward." Rather than giving them options. So getting rid of the control center and the legacy features, putting a nice new clean looking control center together, I think would be very helpful.
Throw all that old stuff out the window.
Yeah. Here's another thing, Tim. So system preferences is kind of the same thing on Mac OS versus Windows. I hate system preferences too. Like, I feel like they could do a better redesign of that, because that's really never been redesigned. It's just got all the little icons and stuff like that. But I feel like they could do something different with it and make it look a lot nicer and stuff like that. I think that's what they need to do to Control Center. I'm not saying get rid of the features in Control Center. I'm just saying make it look prettier and nicer.
So I need to respond. So while I agree, having the settings window and Control Center are kind of annoying, because if you change one thing in Control Center, it's still not changed in settings. That is why I think they need to abolish settings and just leave Control Center the way it works, and maybe add some new icons. Sure, give it a fresh look, but don't get rid of Control Center. That's my life. I work on that every day.
It just needs a facelift.
Why don't they just merge them both together? Merge them.
Do you need to merge them both together, though?
Take the design from settings and put it into Control Center.
There's a lot of things in settings that annoy me. Like, one of the big things is, I guess Windows 10 has privacy control settings within settings, the new one that sucks. And it will automatically block your webcam from working in Skype. And it's super annoying, because if you go into Skype, you cannot set your webcam as like webcam. And then the reason I have to like Google it almost every time. Like,
So
why is it working?
I have a question. Why are you still using Skype?
It's called legacy software that I have no control over. We're working on it.
That's what I'm saying. Microsoft has got Teams out there. Okay,
I'm going to throw something in, Matt. I want you to continue, but I just want everyone to know that 3D Viewer, OneNote for Windows 10, Paint 3D, and Skype won't be included in fresh installs of Windows 11. So now I just wanted to throw that in there. Sorry. What were you going to say, Matt?
So, like I said, they just need to kill off Skype by now. Who uses Skype anymore? Like, it's so old. We have all these other things. FaceTime is finally coming to Windows and Android, so like, why do you need Skype anymore? Like, we've got Teams. Teams is great. I think Teams is much better than Skype ever was. So I think we could definitely just kind of cut Skype out of it,
For sure.
I want to add, this is something that's kind of my gripe a little bit. I love Teams. I use Teams all the time. I love it. It's great. Compared to Skype, it's way better. The one thing I didn't really like, MKBHD pointed this out in his video, but the one thing I don't really like is in the press conference, they had a huge push on Teams, a huge use Teams for everything, call grandma using Teams. Teams, to me, sounds like a collaboration software that you would use at an enterprise company, not something you would call grandma and grandpa on the weekend using. It's I think what they should have done was rebrand Skype and be like, this is the new Skype, and show what Teams is.
Well, so here's what I think. I think they really
shudder
need
at that
thought. I like Teams, and I think what they really need to do is create two versions of Teams like what they have. But I think the confusing part is that there's Teams and then there's Teams for Family or whatever. They need to come up with another name for the Teams with Family. So yeah, or I don't know, Teams for Family or something like that. Mm-hmm. But make them interchangeable though. So if you're, for example, if you're a family user, you can still communicate with people who have enterprise accounts, and use it for enterprise purposes, and vice versa. So that way, if you're doing a job interview and it's over Skype, but I think what they had, over Teams, but I think what they had to do here is Zoom, Zoom was it during the pandemic. Zoom had a huge increase in accounts, and they're seeing a very decrease in accounts right now because of that. And Microsoft really wants a share of that. And Zoom was so good for the pandemic and during lockdown periods, it connected people together, and that's what they want to do with Teams. So being able to create two versions of Teams, but I think they need to call it something else, rather than Teams. I don't know. They need to come up with another. Teams sounds like a more enterprise name.
Exactly.
And I think that you could still have another name for it, But
I think one of the problems is that Windows isn't a phone, so it can't copy iMessage because you're not going to download some random Microsoft messaging app that nobody has on your phone to communicate with people. So you have to only use it on the PC, and Skype is too bloated, so they're getting rid of that. And like you guys are saying, are you going to use something as impersonal as Teams to talk with your family? Will that be your first thought?
Not for me.
FaceTime.
Yeah.
Or FaceTime. Right.
Yeah, I mean FaceTime coming to Windows and Android. That's a pretty big announcement and a pretty big news for that. And again, Apple is doing the same thing that Microsoft wants to do. They want to take a cut away from Zoom. Google did the same thing with Google Meets. Google Meets wasn't really out there for personal accounts, and then it became there during the pandemic. So I think being able to, everybody just wants a piece of the pie, and to cut down on Zoom. And I think that's ultimately the goal.
Okay. So one other thing that they are doing is that they are disabling Internet Explorer and basically making Microsoft Edge the default internet application. So there's going to be an IE mode in Microsoft Edge, so that in some scenarios you might need to use some legacy version of Internet Explorer. But how do you guys feel about Internet Explorer stepping 1 foot out the door? It's almost completely gone.
Well, it's about time. But they've already announced that Internet Explorer itself is going to go away in, I think, July of 2022. Again, they announced this before, and it's still here. Like, I think it was 2 years ago that IE was supposed to be deprecated or whatever, but it's still around and it needs to die. There's some software that I still use with it. I have some older webcams, or not webcams, excuse me, security cameras, and they use the interface. You have to go in through Internet Explorer to get into it, and it's like it's horrible. Like, it's a very painful experience. So I think overall they need to kill IE. I will be interesting to see if the Edge version is a true like Internet Explorer, or it's just another way to get into it, and if you'll really be able to use it for IE.
I think it's good that they're removing it for consumer. I think no one needs Internet Explorer on a consumer device, like I guess consumer license. But looking at it for me from an IT perspective, I'm assuming you can still install it through server, like deploy it as a software. But I don't think a lot of enterprise. There's a lot of companies out there who use and depend on IE as for a lot of different services. I use it constantly all the time while Edge has added a lot of IE to it, so you can access a lot of legacy systems. It's not entirely perfect, but so I'm assuming you'll be able to add it on the back end.
It does say disabled, so there's a chance that you can re-enable it in some way in case it's like critical to certain systems that you or a company has or something.
But I think they said that it's not going to be supported after July of 2022. So you may be able to install it at the beginning, but I think Microsoft's plan is to finally get rid of it altogether. So you may only have the either unsupported version of it that you're using, or which is vulnerable to security attacks, which I think most companies would not want to use because it's not getting software updates or security updates anymore. And especially with ransomware out there right now, and being like ransomware is really big, going on here in the US. We've had a couple of ransomware attacks on some pretty big things. And so I think that using an unsupported browser that doesn't have security updates is going to be hard for companies. It'll be interesting to see if they follow through with that in July of 2022. But supposedly that's what they've said, is that they're no longer supporting it after July of 2022. So,
and I think that if companies push back on Microsoft, maybe they could extend that cancellation date. But Microsoft, just with Windows 11, is making a pretty big statement that it's going to operate on certain hardware in a certain way that we want. So they're taking way more control of the operating system with this iteration. So I think it makes sense if they say that it's going to be completely gone and inoperable, can't install it, they don't care about it anymore, no more support by July 2022, that they'll probably stick with that, because, I don't know, we'll be in a post Windows 11 world.
It's something else that needs to be thrown out the window completely.
And never brought back.
Force everybody to upgrade to Edge or whatever. Just get rid of Internet Explorer. It's time.
Yep.
100%. It needs to go away. I even think that they need to get to the point where it's not even supported through a legacy mode, and they've just moved past Internet Explorer once and for all. I think by letting there be a legacy mode and not kind of forcing progress upon people, they're just coddling and letting people be set in their ways. Anybody who knows what they're talking about knows that Internet Explorer exists only to install Chrome.
True. So true.
I think we should shift points to the, unless anybody else has anything to say about Windows, I think we should shift to the Windows Store.
Yes, great. I mean, can you download Chrome on the Windows Store? What's going on with the Windows Store?
Well, I think we should ask, can you download Internet Explorer?
Ooh, that would be
From the Windows.
Such a tease.
No, but
I'm excited about the Windows Store.
What are you excited about?
So I was asking you guys before the show if you access websites to download applications. I'm unfamiliar of how it works on the Mac. Based on how it works on iOS, I was envisioning you can only go to the Mac App Store because it's the safest, and why would you go anywhere else? And all developers that have salt in developing put stuff on the Mac App Store. That's not true. There's plenty of apps for like development and maybe content creation that you can get just only on a website, and they don't deploy to the Mac Store. But I'm super wondering if anybody uses the current like Windows Store. Every time I have to interact with the Windows Store, it's frustrating and I hate it. I just assume that since nobody really complains about the Mac Store, or at least I don't hear it as frequently as complaints about the Windows Store or the complete ignorance of the Windows Store. So I'm excited that they're going to try and make it, I don't know, attractive to developers, and I want to know what a world is like in which people are buying things from the Windows App Store, because I can't envision it right now. I have no idea what its purpose is for.
So a couple things on that. So yeah. One of the things that I noticed during the keynote, I noticed on their website, I think too, I noticed. So the Windows Store is going to have a lot of apps. Spotify is going to be in there. Adobe is going to be in there. Teams is going to be in there. I don't know if Teams is in there now, but they made a reference to that you can download Teams from there. Disney Plus is going to be in there. There's a lot of different features. But so I don't use the Windows Store. I don't even think it's available on my work computer. But I don't really use it for much. But I like the interface for the Windows Store and the way they debuted it. I think that like you said on the Mac Store, like do I download apps? Yes, I download apps, and I download a lot of apps from the App Store if it's available on there. If it's not, then I'll go to their website and I'll download it, because the Mac App Store is more secure than everything else, and it automatically updates apps automatically for me and keeps them updated in the background, so I don't have to go in there and update it myself. But there's some apps that are not available like that, like Chrome isn't available. Chrome does have a backdoor though to do updates in the background, and then it just tells me I have to restart. So so it's pretty much the same on Windows. There's a couple other apps that I have. Notion isn't available in the App Store. Microsoft Edge isn't available in the App Store, but Microsoft Office and Excel and all that are available in the App Store. So if it's available there, I download it because it's more secure. And I think that having a more secure way of doing things is important. So the ability to download there, I think, is helpful. And like one of the things that I noticed with the keynote too is looking for new apps and exciting apps, because you can go to the internet and search for Mac apps and stuff like that, or Windows apps, but like to be able to go in there and see what everybody else is downloading under trending, what's new, what's out there, to have one source to go look for that, I think is helpful. just from my point of view.
That content curation experience.
Content curation, yeah, that's what I was looking for. So, and then so I hope that they'll continue to grow with that. I think that's the ultimate plan. They did say though, like if you try to download apps, like I think if you download Spotify, it'll have a link to the App Store or the Windows Store, and that's where it'll take you to if you go to their website. So, I think I read that somewhere that's how, like, there'll be a new pop-up menu for the Windows Store, and that's where you would go download it. And then you get all your updates through the Windows Store as well.
Mm-hmm. And that does create like a localized and smooth experience rather than having to manage it in the application itself. It'll do everything in the background, and then everybody kind of knows that they can trust the Windows Store because, again, Microsoft is doubling down on security.
They are, but I don't think every app goes through security tests like it does on Apple. So everything that goes through Apple gets tested before it goes live in the App Store to make sure it meets security requirements and everything like that. So I don't know that that's going to happen with the App Store, but we'll see.
I think adoption rate on it is going to be super slow, though. Windows Store, like you said, every experience you've had with the Windows Store has not been the most pleasant experience thus far. And not only that, but prior to Windows 8, there really wasn't a Windows Store. You downloaded or installed software traditionally from a CD or download from the website, installed it from the install file. And since the inception of the Windows Store, it's been such a negative experience to begin with that I would not be surprised if Microsoft had to fight tooth and nail to get the Windows Store off the ground in Windows 11. And I bet that if it is successful, it's going to be a year, 2 years, or more out from being successful. I don't think that there's. I just don't think that there's enough. There's not enough trust there with Microsoft as a foundation for a Windows Store to be successful to begin with. Microsoft has not trained their customers well to have the Windows Store have a high adoption rate, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think though getting Adobe on board was a strong indication that you should publish to the Windows Store, because Adobe is not in the Windows Store. I know that before. So to get them adapted and into the Windows Store, I think is huge. And I think that bringing Android apps to the Windows Store also is going to be very helpful. I was really surprised that they're actually using the Amazon App Store rather than the Play Store, the Google Play Store.
What are they?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's going through. It's going. So they're putting the Amazon App Store. So that's where you're going to download your Amazon apps, is through the Amazon App Store that's built into Windows. But why not just go directly to the Play Store?
Because you have to have like Google Play services and all this other stuff that Google is probably going to like require you to give them access to or something.
And Google's so focused on putting Google Android apps on Chrome OS. I don't think
I was about to say it's a direct competition.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. So that's interesting that you point that out, though, because it does kind of add a little bit more friction. You don't get like the true native Google experience by having the Google Play Store. You have the Amazon App Store, which is another like mental conversion that people will have to do, where they're like Microsoft Store, Amazon is hosting the Google apps, go to Amazon Store to get the Google apps. Okay. And then you won't have the full array of what's available on Android through the Amazon App Store, because people have to submit stuff there.
Zero chance of having previously purchased Android apps available to you.
So true.
Yeah. So if you purchase an app on the Android store, you're not going to get it.
See, that's super interesting, because so they have that avenue, and I'm unfortunately not very familiar with the Microsoft and Samsung partnership, but I know that they've been working together to smooth out how Samsung Android phones talk to and interact with Windows. I know they have some kind of partnership. So maybe in some kind of roundabout way, they're going to get an Apple-like experience, sampling some from Amazon, sampling some from Google, and getting that phone interoperability with Windows 11, and future versions of Android. And on top of that, like, I didn't say anything, Google, get out of here. And to top off with that, Roy, you were saying Microsoft is going to fight tooth and nail to get that adoption. Like, they're adding Android apps, they're changing the fees on the Microsoft Store to entice developers.
If they can get enough developers,
Right.
My speculation on fighting tooth and nail is just on the current public perception of the Windows Store, the state of the Windows Store. Obviously, depending on how well this Android app integration goes, I think that them using Amazon versus Google Play is going to be a big hit. Not big hit as in like yay, but a big hit to their. But a big hit to their credibility, to how well it's going to blow over with people. I think it's going to be more detrimental the fact that they're using Amazon. But if they can get enough developers, like Matt was saying, if you go to Spotify's website, it'll direct you to the Windows Store. If they can get enough developers on board with that, then you'll get more people used to using the Windows Store, and that's what it's going to take. They're basically going to have to force the customer to get themselves into the Windows Store ecosystem, so to speak, into the interface and used to using it in order to get that adoption rate up. So if like I said, they get enough developers on board, then the adoption rate will go a lot quicker. I don't know how long the Mac Store has been available on Mac OS, but I feel that probably it came after the iOS App Store. And, I feel that was a way that they trained their customer to go to the Mac Store. Like when I got my Mac for the first time and I booted up, I'm like, oh, look, the App Store. I know how to use this. I use this on my phone all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I've already been trained. Microsoft has not had a way to train them.
The App Store was released. The App Store for the Mac was released in 2011. And it, like, I'll say it doesn't have quite a big adoption rate that some like Windows Store does. I think that Roy's right. The Windows Store will have some traction to make up there. I don't even think Adobe is in the Mac Store.
That's hard to believe.
I don't know. I'll check. But like there's some apps that Microsoft is now in there, but Microsoft wasn't in there for a long time. So I think it's just over time you have to, like Roy says, you have to fight for it. Lightroom is available in there, but the Creative Suite isn't in there. So all you can pretty much download is Lightroom.
That's very interesting. So the fact that Adobe is going to be in the new Windows Store, and the fact that Microsoft is saying that all application developers can use in-app payments and not have to give Microsoft any cut of because you don't have to use Microsoft's in-app payment scheme. And the fact that Microsoft is constraining Windows 11 to work in a certain way with certain hardware on certain screen sizes, you're going to have a tablet Windows 11 experience and a desktop Windows 11 experience and a laptop that's essentially going to use the same app store, and you'll have all the same apps across all of them. So I think the App Store model makes a lot of sense if you're like on a tablet or something, since, Apple pioneered that, and that's what everybody is using on mobile, is an App Store that works and makes sense that you can go to get whatever applications you want. It might never take off on desktop, but I think it's a really strong thing for mobile. I don't know, that's how I see it.
And I have just one thing to say, I guess, about how I feel about the Microsoft Store. And that is the fact that they are charging $14.99 for a DVD player that does not, and I repeat, does not play Blu-ray discs. and you get a free trial of.
I missed this. What is this?
This is a DVD player. Microsoft officially published.
Like a DVD player app?
It's a DVD player app on your Windows
Okay.
computer.
What the heck?
And you can watch DVDs.
Could you not do that in whatever program they have right now to watch videos?
You need a third party. I think you need. I wonder if Media Center works. I always use VCL because it's free and it works the same way.
Yeah, exactly.
So
see, this is why I hate the Windows App Store as it is. It's super shisty. This is a scam. Microsoft has a scam on their App Store right now that they're promoting.
I wonder if anyone actually pays this. Too bad there's no rating system for this page. I would love to
Oh my god.
see system requirements. Yeah, yep. That's
Hopefully, and there's just so much jank like that on the Windows App Store. I hope they somehow find a way to curtail that and give us better curation.
yeah.
That being said, I'm trying to think if there was any other like cool features. Oh, there's going to be widgets now, right? You won't be too far away from iPhone and Android. You'll get widgets back on the desktop now. And they're taking away live tiles, essentially replacing those with widgets. Are you guys familiar with live tiles on?
I like live tiles mainly because that's what I loved about Windows Mobile.
Mm-hmm. Oh, live tiles are cool. They give you like immediate access to like little glances of information.
Exactly.
Right?
It gives you the most pertinent information up front. I mean, I haven't always enjoyed their integration with Windows. I think that the way that you could have done it with Windows 10 wasn't that bad. Definitely better than it was in Windows 8. I still think that you could do stuff. If you could pin the live tiles to your desktop, your physical desktop background, so it's always there versus how you had to bring up the start menu, that would be the way to implement live tiles. But don't listen to me, Microsoft. I'm just a consumer that loves live tiles.
I think for you, you're a little bit too close to Apple for them to really consider. They have to take stuff from Apple behind like Cloak and Dagger or something. They can't.
Tim can go talk to his buddy Bill.
Bill's not in charge anymore.
You don't think he doesn't still have influence there?
He's definitely on some board.
No, he's off the board now.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, he had an affair with the one, and he resigned, saying that he wanted to spend more time with the Gates Foundation, I think, and stuff like that, and other projects. But yeah, he's off the board. So,
so what you're saying is the wallet has been removed.
I guess.
I say that because Microsoft Wallet is removed from Windows 11.
But I see what you did there.
Yeah. Just wanted to throw that in there. Sorry, Matt. It sounded like you were going to say something actual instead of memey.
No, that was it.
So have you guys heard of Microsoft Wallet or what that could even be? Because I see it here in the list of things that's going to be removed, but
I'm almost positive that it was on my Windows phone. Like I definitely can like picture what the tile looked like in my mind, and I remember seeing it in Windows Mobile, but I could not explain it to you.
Fair enough.
I'm looking it up.
I mean, I'm pretty sure that it was just like a currency for the Windows Store that you could load money into.
Oh, I see. Okay.
It looks like a competitor to Apple Pay and Android Pay.
Maybe that was really if that was on the Surface or something and was popular there for like mobile, or maybe they also wanted it for the Pro Duo, the failed Pro Duo that they launched. I don't know. I'd never heard about it before.
Oh, I found an article. The Microsoft Wallet app for Windows phones will stop working on February 28, and this was written in 2019.
Huh.
So it was you can pay. It was a mobile payment app, pretty much.
That's so sad. We're losing another mobile payment thing
that you never used. So
that I never used.
You never really missed it then.
Didn't know it existed at all. I really don't feel like I'm missing anything. But you know what I am missing? The fact that Cortana will no longer be included in the first boot experience or pinned to the taskbar of Windows 11.
I'm kind of sad because I really did like Cortana, even though I never used Cortana. But like, I mean, I don't know. I feel like they shouldn't really give up on Cortana. But
anybody think it's ironic that they're killing off Cortana both in game and out of game?
Spoilers.
It's literally in the Halo Infinite trailer. So if you've watched the Halo Infinite trailer, you know this.
Yep.
So I also have to mention too. It came out in Windows Insider, but cloud gaming is now available for iOS via the web browser. So with Game Pass. So I think I'm finishing up my boot camp and I have a week off. I think I'm going to try it next week. And I'm going to give it a try. And I'm going to try playing Halo.
We're going to play some Halo together?
Yeah, maybe Wolfenstein and some other things. So I think I can get 3 months of Game Pass for like 99 cents or something like that.
Yeah, there's a promotion going on.
Yeah, so I think I'm going to try it, and I think I'm going to do it.
That's exciting.
Playing Halo on my iPad.
Streaming it, right? I would love to watch you play Halo. That would be amazing. Especially if you both do like co-op or something. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Any last final thoughts? Windows App Store or Windows 11?
My overall overview of how Windows looks, or Internet Explorer?
Internet Explorer, yes. Rest in peace. Hey, hold on. Let's take a moment of silence. Okay, that's good.
More than long enough.
Time to move on.
I mean, like, my overview of how Windows 11 like looks to me, I like the consolidation. I like the focus on expanding Windows view or perspective or appeal as the platform you can do anything that you want on, the platform that is for any kind of experimentation or innovation with maybe not ironclad restrictions, but they have a dedicated experience with the Microsoft Store, and then it's still the platform where you can download all these unique apps, like ones that track your cooling in your PC, ones that modify like lighting in your RBG system. Just all of the awesome things that have happened on PC happened because of Windows and then Linux. But I think that Microsoft embracing both their business side with the store and the creative culture of just Windows in general, that is what I'm looking forward to.
So I just have one thing to say, and I mentioned this in the Discord chat, but the guy who talked about Windows 11, oh my God, he was so much drama about that. Like, come on. Like,
you thought he was dramatic?
Oh, yeah.
He was about to cry the entire time.
Literally.
He was comparing Windows, an operating system, to a family member. And I grew up using Windows. It was like a family member to me.
He should literally become an actor.
My grandma once used Windows. It was her favorite. I'd like to show you guys Windows 11. It was like,
this is the house I grew up in. It's a lot like Windows. It's a lot like Windows because it's got Windows. It's so versatile.
In fact, it's got 11 windows.
I would have preferred a PowerPoint presentation than him talking about it.
It was kind of odd, right? Where he was like, yeah, this is really personal and really dedicated to like you, but also we're trying to sell you something really, really hard.
It was bringing off Xbox One vibes, like Xbox One announcement vibes of between you and your TV. It's between you're gonna have a relationship between you and your Xbox. Like,
how can you not get it? It's like
Windows.
a member of the family. Bring it home.
Windows 11. It's like your child.
like, dude, it's an operating system. Get over it.
Anyways, like I was almost ready to turn it off because I missed the replay because I had a meeting at the same time. Because they did it so damn early in the morning, so I couldn't get out of a meeting. So I ended up watching it later that night. Literally, I got so tired of listening to this guy for 10 minutes talk about Windows and not even Windows 11, just about his experience with Windows and how personal it is. And
the team and how much love and passion. Oh my God.
Oh my God.
They were probably like, listen, Windows isn't ready yet. We need you to stall for 30, maybe 5 more minutes. Just stall.
We know it. We know it was pre-recorded. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. But how many takes do you think he went through before he got it right?
How many times do you think they had to stop filming because he was just crying too much?
Yeah, he's like, oh my God, it's Windows 11.
Oh man,
sorry. Anyways, all right. I think that's a good place to wrap it up.
I agree. Thank you, everyone, for joining us on this episode of the Gooply Cast. We want to give a big thank you to you watching, and if you're listening to us as a podcast. Look for replays on YouTube and the podcast version of our episodes on all of your favorite podcasting apps, including iHeartRadio. Follow us on Twitter and like us on Facebook, so that way you'll get notified when we go live with this show and you can join in. And also for when we share new tech-related content. I've been your host, Matt Carter. For Matt, Roy, Tim, and Joe, thank you so much for watching and listening, and we'll catch you next time on the Gooply Cast.